Hello everyone, Jeff here with A Taste for Whiskey, and as always here with my good friend Bob, and we are still continuing our series on Scottish regions.
Yeah, and we're continuing them all in one night. So
we are. That's, we're still wearing the same clothes, so we're doing.
Words are probably getting a little tougher than they were in the beginning.
That's right.
Go right ahead.
So we're going to talk about one of my favorites, and that's Campbeltown. I love it. There is this kind of mystique about it, and it is a little crazy. But it's very unique, Bob.
Yeah, no, it is. Campbeltown, again, if we go back to my famous map
I love this.
Lowlands, Highlands, Speyside, Islay, Islands, and Campbeltown is this little peninsula here. And if you could have it drawn in, Ireland would be right here.
Ah.
So the Atlantic Ocean has a straight run into Campbeltown. And what this means is, back in the day, in the turn of the century, late 1800s, early 1900s, Campbeltown had the most whiskey produced of any whiskey region in Scotland.
Really?
Yep. They had, I think at their heyday, back then they had 28 distilleries.
In that little area?
In this little area. And when you go to Campbeltown and you drive around, you see ruins of distilleries almost every other block. But what happened in the late 20s? What went on? Do you remember?
Well,
you're not that old.
The Great Depression.
It was Prohibition.
Oh, Prohibition.
So Prohibition happened, and their primary customer ceased to exist. So they had, whereas Speyside, the Highlands, their primary customers were France, Italy, and Spain. So they could still keep making Scotch that went over there. Campbeltown basically went out of business.
Man, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. So existing still from those days are two main distilleries, Springbank and Glen Scotia. There's a third distillery over there now called Glen, but it's associated with Springbank.
Right.
And Springbank also makes a long row, and I'll think of it in a minute. So they make it here. Here's one other interesting thing. When I went into Campbeltown, you go in a little airplane, and you know how when you fly and you land, you see the beginning of the runway and you touch down? Well, we're going into Campbeltown, and we see the runway, and we're still in the air, and we're still in the air, and we're still there. I'm thinking, geez, we're going to overshoot this. The runway there is a World War II bomber runway that's the longest one in the UK, where the bombers took off. So these little planes only use like 1/20th of this long runway.
Who would have thought?
Yep.
I mean, in that little bitty area.
Yep, Campbeltown.
Kilhoman? No?
Hazelburn.
Hazelburn,
okay.
That's it.
Hazelburn's the other one, but Hazelburn and Long Row are both made at Springbank Distillery.
Right. That's right.
So,
and isn't one considered peated and one's considered not peated?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Now, all Campbeltown is considered to have like a waxy coating on it. There is this almost cult love of Springbank now.
There is.
People are chasing after bottles of Springbank. They're paying exorbitant amounts of money for Springbank. I find Springbank is one of those scotches you either love it or you don't like it. I'll leave it up to you folks to decide. I really like Glen Scotia. Glen Scotia it has a great mouthfeel for me. It has the right amount of complexity and flavor. So if it's okay, I'd like to pour a little Glen Scotia, but maybe we should consult with.
I don't know. What do you think, Kurt?
I'm going Glen Scotia. I'm not a fan of Springbank.
So I like Campbeltown, but I'm not chasing it. But I do want to get the whole. My goal is to get the whole lineup for sure. But Glen Scotia, I will say, Bob, is definitely one of my favorites.
So
I love it.
Glen Scotia Plus, it has this ambiance about it. When you go to a lot of more and more, you go to distilleries these days, like Malt Disney and other other well-known distilleries that are all glitz and glory.
Hey, we'll let you figure out who that is.
Yes. Glen Scotia, when you go to their visitor center, you go in and you're greeted by their manager, one of the distillery workers, and they take you around the corner. You don't go through any elaborate, beautiful passageways. You go around the corner into an old dunnage warehouse that has black mold on the walls from the years of the alcohol evaporation. They kick over a couple of barrels, and they bring out roll a couple other barrels out there, and you sit right there in the warehouse and you drink right out of the barrel. Very unpretentious, very friendly, and I love Glen Scotia.
See, that right there, it's all about the experience.
It is.
And that is what makes this so much fun. But I will say that this, I don't get that funk. You know, that Campbeltown funk.
Yeah, Springbank is noted for, and you'll even see in Reddit rooms and all of that, people talking about the Campbeltown funk. Again, you either love it or you don't like it. Springbank doesn't have that for me. Springbank to me has a little bit of the maritime notes, a little bit of the salt and the brine in it a little bit, but still has some of the waxy, oily, and fruity notes that I get in other scotches.
Man, Bob, it's very good.
This
is fantastic.
Salanja, my friend.
Salanja Var.